What is up, guys? This is Linthio coming at you with an updated deck profile of my Zing deck, now with correct terminology of the names. So I do apologise for that in the previous video, but I am just going to go straight into it. There have been some changes, and I'll go into a bit of depth as to why I've chosen some things and why you run them. So to start it off, we have the main card. We have Chai Wen. Chai Wen is your main tuner, and which enables you just to make a lot of explosive plays with the fact that it can come back from the grave. So it's a must to run 3 of this in my opinion, because it really gets the deck off the ground. Then we have 3 Suwani. Suwani is your main beater of the deck, and being able to transfer 500 extra attack and defense to your synchros is a real benefit and really makes some things really beefy. It makes Baxia like the 3/8 and it's just so nice. So Suwani's great because it just means you can also have a nice beater if you are in a bit of a tight spot. Then we have 2 Bian. The reason why I play 2 is because it just clogged when I had it at 3. So when I was testing, obviously the effect is good to transfer the fact that it can't be destroyed by a battle, a monster that's synchroed with it. But it just clogged, and it's not the greatest one in my opinion. Like, it's a very good card, and the fact that you know your monster can't be destroyed by a battle is very useful. But just for consistency's sake, and just because there are so many cards in the deck that I actually want to get out and run to keep consistency up, just so I don't brick when I keep drawing it, because that's what kept happening. I run 2, and 2 is actually working out quite well. Then the best one in my opinion, we have 3 Bixi. Bixi is just an absolute boss. Being able to transfer the effect where the monster's unaffected by trap cards is just so brutal, and it combos brilliantly with skill drain in the deck. And that's just the start of it, because you can obviously unaffected by opponent's card effects, and you can use it to your advantage. So Bixi being able to make a monster unaffected by traps is brilliant, and the 2000 Ass is really nice. Then we play the 1 Paolu. Paolu is just there because spells are technically still a thing. It's a level 1. It's not got bad defense, and the only reason I would bump it up if, for example, Spellbooks got more popular or any of the spell destruction effects cards went back up. But the only real issues are things like Dark Hole, which not everyone runs, and Mind Control, which hardly anyone runs unless they're running a synchro-based deck. So only having 1 Paolu works for me, and that's just how it is. Then we play the 2 Junk Synchron. Junk Synchron enables us to go into a lot of different things, has Beazle access, and also the fact that you combo it with Bixi. This and Bixi just makes level 5 Synchro, which is unaffected by traps, so easily. And it's actually brutal, because you can just bring out things like Armades or Catasta, and it's just great. So Junk Synchron's really, really useful in the deck. Then I play 1 Mass Chameleon. It's the same as before, because I feel that Mass Chameleon is a great card, but it clogs at 2 for me, and it's just really annoying. In my previous video, a lot of people got confused because I didn't explain correctly about the targets. You have 3 targets that you can get back. It's Chai Wen, Suwani, and Bian, because they have the 0 defense. And while it's good, and you're obviously going to have them in your grave, it just doesn't agree with me having it higher. I tested it at 2 and tested it at 3 with no Junk Synchron and, you know, evening out the ratios. And for me, my personal choice is having it at 1. It's just really, really nice. And then one of the ones is Exodus. This is a new one that I've put in. I know normally you would run this with the hands. I don't run it with the hands. I did test the hands, and the reason why I don't have them is because a clever opponent will, you know, decipher that anything that you're going to attack, anything they're going to attack into is going to have a graveyard effect, so they'll just wait. And having the hands, it didn't really add much to the deck apart from having their own engine, like their own entity. So that's why I don't run them. But the reason why I run Exodus is because it's really, really simple and easy access to Star Eater. And Star Eater, even with no transferable conditions on top, is still a really strong card. It causes a massive headache for your opponent, as I'm sure you all know. And I just feel it's great. It is good for recycling stuff back into the deck if I'm not seeing any Zing paths, and it's just overall quite nice. It's been working very well for me, and I just enjoy having it. So that's the reason why I run it at 1. You can up it to 2 if you do run the hands, because obviously recycling the back end works. Going on to the spells, we have the 3 Zing path. I did bump this down to 2 for a while, and I just didn't see it enough. Like, you want to see this card kind of fairly early, because you're going to get your deck up and running straight away. Well, that's the hope, of course. And having the Yang Zing path to just give you advantage is just really, really nice. The fact you can make your synchro plays, then play this, because it doesn't have any restrictions, it's just really, really nice. So having the 3 Yang Zing path is kind of a staple for me. That's the reason I run it at 3, because when I had it at 2, I tested it a lot at 2, and I just didn't see it enough. Help with the consistency, we have 3 Potter Duality. You don't technically need to synchro in your turn, because obviously the Yang Zings can synchro up in your opponent's turn. So having the option for Potter Duality is really nice, because it means you can also dig for key cards like that Yang Zing path or Yang Zing Creation, because you need to get to those cards fairly quickly. So having the Potter Duality in there has really helped with the consistency. So that is why I run 3 Pot of Duality. Running 2 Soul Charge. Soul Charge is just brilliant in this deck, mainly because the fact that your synchros, if you do synchro up, which is the point of having this, but when you do synchro up, your monsters obviously have the immunities. And being able to just leave a monster there with the downside of not being able to attack, but for example, if you go to Baxia, Baxia will spin a lot of the cards on your opponent's side of the field, and you can just sit there for a turn to be like, yeah, okay, that's fine, I'll give you a turn, but everything's been spun back. So having the 2 Soul Charge is really nice, and even if you just want to make like one-off plays, just bringing back one monster, maybe one of your boss monsters has died or anything like that, it's just really useful. Then the new card is Thunder Crash. Now there's been a lot of debate over this, and I'm just going to put this ruling out straight away. I've checked with Konami and emailed the ruling and everything, and they say Thunder Crash does not make your Yang Zings miss timing. If you're not sure what I mean, I'll read out the card effect. It's destroy all monsters on your side of the field. Inflict damage to your opponent's life points equal to the number of monsters destroyed times 300. The reason why people think it misses timing is because it doesn't look like, because it's old card text, it doesn't look like it's a simultaneous effect. So it doesn't look like it's destroy and inflict. It's destroy, they go to the graveyard, that's fine, and then they inflict 300 damage, where the argument comes in that Yang Zings will miss timing. It's the exact same ruling with Yubel, because if you activate this on Yubel, Yubel still gets his effect. And if it was under the same pretense, technically, if it didn't work for Yang Zings, it wouldn't work for Yubel. So until we get an official Konami ruling, or until this gets errated to have problem-solving card text, the assumption is that they don't miss timing. Reason why I run this is because it helps the deck get off the ground a bit. If you are up against an opponent who is not attacking, Thunder Crash enables you to just get rid of that player interaction that the deck does need. So Thunder Crash is really nice. Don't expect to kill anyone with the 300 burn. I have actually killed someone with the 300 burn, but don't bank on it happening much. Then the one-offs, you play the 1 Dark Hole, ends up you plussing, because if you use it on your Yang Zings, you end up getting the effects, so really nice card. The 1 Mind Control, I play a synchro-based deck, so Mind Control is a no-brainer. And the 1 Book of Moon. Book of Moon has gone in here over Bottomless, because it enables me to get rid of Midrash. Midrash is one of the main problems. Obviously, a lot of decks struggle against Midrash. And this just means that I can get around it. It also means I can get around any other annoying monsters that are out there that I just don't want to see. So it means I can remove them from the field. Well, obviously face up, they go face down. But it means that they're just out of sight, out of mind for that turn. And it also helps with you can just stop their effects if if you don't want their effects to go off, because you just do it on the summon. Traps, 3 Yang Zing Creation. You have to see this card early. This is one of the main cards to help you get the deck off the ground. Having it at 3 is a no-brainer. You have to have it at 3 in my opinion. Cutting it down to 2, I've seen people do it, cut it down to 2 because it clogs. I don't care. This card is amazing. If it clogs, play 2 at the same time if you really want, because it just enables you to explode. The amount of times I've had 2 out and they've just been overwhelmed is ridiculous. But seeing 1 and having it there is just nice. Another card I think you should play 3 of all the time is Skill Drain. Skill Drain wrecks the format, and it wrecks pretty much every format. I know Quill-Offs are coming into the thing and they can technically run Skill Drain, but if you really want, you can side it out against that matchup. But for this format, Skill Drain is amazing because it wrecks everything. Basically everything that's meta, it wrecks, as I said. And the fact that it has the combo with Bixi that your synchros will be unaffected by it just makes it even more broke. So running it at 3 is a must because you want to see this early, because you can search out the Bixi, you can make it flow. With this, you can't. You can only get it really with Pot of Duality or drawing into it. Or, with Yang Zing Path and you end up drawing into it. But that's why I think you should run it at 2. 3 even. speaking of running it at 2, wiretap. I've taken out MSTs for wiretap, mainly because artifacts have now become more of a thing. I know they were a thing beforehand, but a lot of decks are running it, and it helps play against them, because you don't want to blind MST into a artifact player, and it kind of becomes a very, very difficult time to play the card. Using this on Sanctum is amazing. Using it on any other cards is just amazing. So wiretap is a great addition to the deck, I feel. Then we have the one Torrential Tribute. Like Dark Hole, you end up plussing off this if you play it correctly. The one called Haunted, I run 1 because it helps me do some tuner play, synchro plays. It helps me get boss monsters back, so on and so forth. I had it at 2 and I didn't really like it for some reason. I don't know why, just in testing it just got annoying. Bumped it down to 1 and it worked really nicely. And then the final one is Compulsory Evacuation Device. As I said with Book of Moon, Winder is a thing. We want to get rid of it, we just don't want it to be there, and Compulsory Evacuation Device helps us get around it. So going on to the extra deck, we have 2 Baxia. Baxia is your main card that you'll always want to go into because it's just so brutal. Spinning cards back depending on the amount of Yang Zings you use, and also the destruction effect, allowing you to basically summon 2 monsters, is just amazing. So 2 Baxia is just a no-brainer in my opinion. 1 Star Eater, you can go into it. Doesn't happen all that much, but it's there if you do need it. With me, I obviously play Exodus, so I can go into it a lot easier. But if you bring this out with any kind of transferable effects from the Yang Zings, it's basically game, because it's very, very difficult to get rid of it. The one Leo, this card does come out a lot, and this card is a boss. The amount of times I've brought this out where it's I've used Bixi, and I've had skill drain up is just brutal. So it normally comes out with 3/6 because I've used Suwani, and yeah, really wrecks face, and a lot of people struggle. Mistworm. Mistworm's here because you can use it in your opponent's turn quite nicely, and it's just good to spin more cards. I know you can use Baxia, and Baxia is probably the go-to one, but having the Mistworm and having the level 9 access is actually quite nice. Then we have Beals. Beals is here, obviously because Junk Synchron's here. It doesn't really need to be... Well, it doesn't really need to have any transferable effects because it's already amazing, but giving it Bixi's effect, where it's unaffected by traps, is just brutal, and it's very, very difficult to get across. Excuse me. 1 Scrap Dragon. Scrap Dragon, you can enable your own effects, so it's a no-brainer. You end up plussing off the card. It's all about the pluses. 1 Crimson Blader. Yang Zings are a thing, not so much as Shadows. And Dragon Rulers are still around, so having the 1 Crimson Blader and being able to stop your opponent's special summons and summons is nice. The 1 Black Rose Dragon, because it's Black Rose, I can make level 7s easy. Ancient Sacred Wyvern, you can OTK with this quite nicely. The card's just absolutely brutal, so I really recommend it. 1 Goyo. Goyo's just brilliant. He's the only level 6 I play for now, and I don't really need to go into any other level 6s, so Goyo's really, really nice. Level 5s, Armades. Armades is brutal, just really, really useful. Stops Yang Zings, hands, Bujin, so on and so forth. The 1 Catasta now upgrades to ulti. I completely forgot I even had this fucking card in ulti. It's been in my binder for ages. Yeah, as I said, it's just great with Junk Synchron, because you can just bring back Bixi, and all that jazz. The 1 Dragon of Rebirth, because it actually is quite nice. This is a nice card, and the next one I'm going to show you is a really nice card, because it enables me to get around the best of a bad situation, say. I had one person who had Exeter Night Out with 1 material, and they were going to activate the effect, so I synchroed up into this, and then when it blew up I managed to get one of my boss monsters back, and it just hurts. It's also good if you want to steal anything out of your opponent's grave, just to stop them. And then the final one is the Underground Fighter. This is just really nice. You'll normally synchro up with this and Bian, because it's just nice, and it means it's unaffected by, it can't be destroyed by battle, but when it does die you can just bring back any level 4s, and it just means that you can just keep the speed going. So that is it, guys. I realised this was like a 14-15 minute long video, but as I said, I did want to go into the reason for choices and just some kind of theory behind the cards. So that is it, guys. I hope you did enjoy the deck profile. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I shall catch you guys later.